Hello and welcome to the Creatively Challenged podcast, where we talk entertainment news and bring random topics to this $34 card table. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Nolan, and I'm here with Danny Stewart. Today, Mike has left us in his absence. He's in Canada currently. But Dan, how the hell are you?
Ryan, I am wonderful.
That was a really indulgent, wonderful. Like, you're doing
I
good,
am
aren't
well.
you?
I put stress on wonder because we saw Wonder Woman, and then when you
I just got
asked how I was doing, I realized that I didn't have a quote from Wonder Woman ready to give you when you asked how I was doing. So here's my Wonder Woman quote. You let a little object like that tell you what to do? It's a very good scene from that. And that was from Wonder Woman. And that's the movie where
She was referring to a watch in that scene,
Yeah,
if
she
I'm
was.
correct, right?
I am getting a call from the domain right now.
Our apartment
Yes.
buildings? Oh, they're probably just saying we're moving your
All right,
shit.
well, let's record the podcast. Things come first here. This is more important to me.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll right into
right.
the news. That was awkward.
I'll take
Okay,
us into the news.
fantastic.
We have a trailer drop happening this week. What happened this week for Steven Soderbergh's new movie, Logan Lucky. This is a heist movie taking place with characters in the South trying to rob a NASCAR race. It features Catherine Waterston, Daniel Craig, Channing Tatum, and Seth MacFarlane. Not to mention, we've got Adam
Kylo
Driver.
Ren,
I almost
yeah.
forgot his name. Yeah, we've got Kylo Ren in this movie. Dan, what do you think of this
I
trailer?
really love this trailer. I haven't heard of this movie until like this morning, when I watched the trailer, and I'm kind of upset that I didn't know about it until now. This movie comes out in August, and I just saw. Well, the trailer just released 2 months before it comes out, so. Kind of a lower key film, but looks like it could be really entertaining and really good. I mean, the cast is amazing. And I like at the end of the trailer, it says introducing Daniel Craig. Did you notice that?
No, I didn't see
It
that.
said
that?
introducing Daniel Craig. I'm like, pretty sure I know who Daniel Craig was. He's been James Bond for the
that's
last
really
like
funny.
7 years. So, that was pretty funny. It seems like it's gonna be. It kind of reminded me of like The Town almost. It seemed like it had that kind of vibe about it, but it also seemed to have more of a comedy aspect, obviously, than The Town. Like The Town's a pretty dark movie, but I like the way the comedy and the drama aspect of this film seems to be. Just judging from this
Yeah.
trailer, I'm excited to see this movie.
It was a weird sort of dry humor, and it was really strange seeing Daniel Craig in a different sort of character than we're used to. Like, mostly he's just been outside of James Bond too, but like he's been mostly just like a handsome guy with very few words who's intense, and now we're getting like a sort of ecstatic Southern man that's cracking up all the time, his own jokes, and it's just really strange.
Yeah,
But Jesus, like a heist movie robbing a NASCAR race is something we haven't seen before.
No,
It's
and
exciting.
I just like how Channing Tatum and Adam Driver are just talking in these heavy Southern accents, and Daniel Craig as well.
Yeah.
And Daniel Craig, I mean, like other than James Bond, I only know him as mind-controlled stormtrooper in Star Wars Episode 7. So this, yeah. So
What?
okay. So in
in
Episode
it?
7. When Rey is like locked up in like that chamber, and she's like, "You will release these restraints and leave
Yeah.
with the door open." That stormtrooper was Daniel Craig.
Why? Why did they like have to pay him?
I
a
don't
lot
know.
for
I think
that?
he just like wanted to be in a Star Wars movie, and they're like, "Hey, why not? Let's let you be a stormtrooper." And
That's
J.J.
so
Abrams
funny.
is like a yes man. Like he like a lot of people kind of came up to him and said like, "Hey, can this be in the Star Wars movie?" And he said, "Yeah." Like Conan got the words "jub jub" in Episode 7 because he asked J.J. Abrams. So there's
That's
like
awesome.
a ton of stuff
I didn't know
that
that at
like
all.
J.J. Abrams said yes to. I don't know if like Ryan Johnson is for episode 8, just like gonna put everything in there that people ask him, but I don't know. This has nothing to do.
Yeah.
This has
Yeah, we don't know
nothing to
how
do
he
with
is.
Logan Lucky.
Yeah, what's our next
Our
story, Dan?
next story is a pretty big one. We got Tom Cruise announcing the official title for Top Gun 2, though it's not Top Gun 2. It is called Top Gun Maverick. And that's obviously Tom Cruise's character in the original Top Gun. Now, he says, like, his reasoning behind naming it Top Gun Maverick was because, like, not every sequel should be a numbered sequel. So he was just
Yeah.
very against calling it Top Gun 2 and wanted to call it Top Gun Maverick. So I guess it's going to be like the article says here on IMDb that it's going to be like a character study about Maverick, kind of just like getting into like his mind and getting into like a new type of story involving like the Top Gun kind of universe thing. So it's going to be
Okay.
pretty interesting. What do you think? I mean, Top Gun's one of like the most iconic 80s movies like ever of all time.
Okay. Well, I think Tom Cruise is like one of the hardest working actors in Hollywood. The guy's always making something, and I know he's gonna deliver in this movie. I mean, let's just hope it's a good story. It's a story worth telling. If they're willing to resurrect a series like that, well, not a series, a movie like this, a movie universe like this. But one of the first questions I had that came to mind is if they're writing in Val Kilmer's character,
Yeah.
Iceman, because recently he just did an AMA on Reddit, an Ask Me Anything on Reddit a few weeks ago, and people were asking like, "Are you going to be in Top Gun 2? Are you game for Top Gun 2?" And he said he doesn't really know what they're doing with it, but he'd want to. So if they've already got a title and they've got Tom Cruise attached, wouldn't you think that they'd let Val Kilmer know, like, "Hey, we're going to have you in
Yeah,
this
absolutely.
movie"?
I mean, I think they would, but I don't know if they even have a script written up, do they? Like, I mean, they just came up with the title of the movie. I don't think they
Yeah.
they
Yeah.
have a like a script and who's going to be in it and everything yet. I mean, obviously Tom Cruise is going to be in it, but
Yeah.
I mean, I want to see some Kevin Bacon back, right?
Wait. I haven't seen Top Gun in a couple of years. Kevin
Yeah,
Bacon's
he's
in
Iceman's
Top Gun?
partner. Or he's
Are you
like the
shitting me?
I haven't seen Top Gun in a while either, but I
He's
know
in it,
Kevin Bacon's in it.
I had no idea.
Yeah.
That went right over my head.
Yeah. But like
Okay.
Kevin Bacon, that one like Hollywood theory thing where everybody's with Kevin Bacon. This is a direct Kevin Bacon movie, so he's in this. Like this isn't like Val Kilmer worked with whoever who worked with Kevin Bacon. This is
Yeah.
Kevin Bacon worked with Kevin Bacon. I mean, Kevin Bacon worked with Tom
Dude.
Cruise and was in this movie.
Have you noticed? Have you noticed that every single story, you always say something about a movie, or at least for the stories we've just done in this episode. Every time you say something about a movie, I'm like, "What? That's crazy! Explain that,
Well,
Dan."
hey.
I'm learning so
I'm an
much here.
insightful guy. What can I say?
Yeah, I like your little tidbits here.
I'm
But do you have
full
any
of 'em.
final thoughts on the Top Gun? Any wishes for what
Wishes,
you want it to be?
I mean, it's always it's like kind of prolonged sequels are always tough, to do. Because then
Yeah.
what you're doing is you just kind of want to capture the magic of the original while also telling a new story. That's the goal. But a lot of the times people just kind of basically just try and do fan service and put as many like references as they can in a new one and kind of stray away from an original story. So this I trust them. It's not like Top Gun's gonna like go crazy wild, but I just hope that there's a good
Yeah.
story enough here to where they wanted to do it again like 20 years later,
Yeah. So you're thinking
or
there's
30
not going to
30
be
years.
a shirtless volleyball
30
scene?
years. It came out in 1989. So
Oh, yeah.
so 30 years. Shit.
But you don't think that we're going to have a great shirtless volleyball
I
scene,
think
Dan?
there's a possibility. It just kind of depends on what type of shape Tom Cruise is in. But he was shirtless in the Mummy trailer. Oh, I saw the Mummy fucking trailer again during Wonder Woman. Like, I mean, we
It's
go
so
see a
bad.
movie every week, and I'm pretty sure the Mummy is the movie we're reviewing next week on the podcast. So, shit.
That comes out next week.
Yeah,
Oh shit.
and then
All right. Well, that'll be a
Cars
fun time.
2 comes out the week after. So, um,
Cars
or
3.
yeah, shit, Cars 3. So we
I hope they don't re-release
yeah,
Cars 2.
that'd be terrible. I'd be so fucking pissed if I walked into the theater and Cars 2 started playing. I'd be like, no, no. I wouldn't want to do that again. But like,
Yeah.
I mean, we see a movie every week, and for the last like fucking like 6 months. It's just been, I swear to God, every movie I've seen for the last 6 months has had the Mummy trailer. Give or take
Yeah.
give or take a few.
Well, Universal, they've got that ad money. Universal, they're
Yeah,
working
they
it
do.
hard. Yeah, they want people to see this.
I hope it's
Um,
good.
But taking us into our
Like I mean, like
yeah,
I'm not like
hopefully it's
I'm not
something.
like live or die on whether or not it's good like Wonder Woman was. Like I don't care whether this movie's good or not, but the trailer was so shitty for a long time, and I've watched the trailer 1,000 times, and I have
Mhm.
like almost no interest in this movie whatsoever. But now I like have to see it, and I'm not really looking forward
Yeah.
to it at all.
I mean, nothing really garners interest in the trailers. It nothing like draws you in. Like, oh, that looks fun.
I don't know.
It's just been like
I
Tom Cruise is around things that get
kind of
destroyed.
like the part in the trailer where, and now we're completely off topic, but where
Yeah.
like the chick's eyes like split into two pupils in one eye, like that's nuts.
But that's like 5 seconds of the movie. Like that's cool. But that's not. That can't speak for what the rest of the movie is
know.
going to be. Like I'll
It-
concede
It
that
has
looks awesome.
nothing
But
to
like
do
that's not.
with the rest of the movie. Probably, I just like that part.
I'm right there with you. I'll give you that. Moving into our next story, let's try and stay somewhat on the news. I like when we get off topic, but let's see what else we've got here. So, as everyone knows, or everyone may not know, they're trying to make a movie monster film universe, and so we just recently had Godzilla. Was that 2014? Dan?
Yeah.
Okay, so we had Godzilla, then we just had King Kong release earlier this spring. And so what they're trying to do is kind of make a rebooted Godzilla and King Kong universe. And so eventually the next movie slotted to release is the Godzilla versus King Kong movie. And they've just announced director Adam Wingard to direct Godzilla versus King Kong. His credits include The Guest, Netflix's Death Note, and he just did that Blair Witch remake. Now, I haven't seen
neither have
any
I.
of these. He's done a lot of scary movies, and then he just did that Death Note series, which is based off of a Japanese anime. So are they going for a horror movie vibe here? That's what
I
I'm
mean,
wondering. You know?
just with what he's done, that could be the case. But I like looked this guy up after this was like published the other day, and this guy's like a big fan of like Japanese culture, and like anime and all this other stuff. So it's safe to assume that like he's a big fan of Godzilla. Um,
Yeah.
so I just trust him. I mean, like I'm not really into his work. I haven't seen any of his work, but I like when a fan takes on projects. You know, like
I
like
didn't even consider that. That's a
Gareth
really good point.
Edwards, like getting to direct the first like offbeat Star Wars movie. You know, like a non-episodic Star Wars movie, and Rogue One
Yeah.
was fucking dope. Like that was basically just a fan film with a $1 million budget or multi-million-dollar budget. And then, you know, that's how Han Solo is going to be as well. And then, you know, that Voldemort movie. I mean, Voldemort's not a multi-million-dollar project, but like it looks like a pretty high-quality fan film. And so, Taika Waititi is the director of Thor Ragnarok, which looks freaking awesome as well. And I wasn't even a big fan of the
Yeah.
first two Thor movies, but I love him as a director. And he's a huge like Thor fan, so he's just taken on Thor, and it's going to be a huge passion project for him. So I just love when people can just put their passions into something and make a fan work and just make something good solely because they know what they want to see is what a ton of other fans want to see. So this could be good for him.
Yeah.
I might want to check out the new Blair Witch. I know Mike saw it, but I didn't. But it's whatever. I might check it out just to see what we're kind of working with, even though it's probably going to be a different style film.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you think we're starting to see a shift where maybe some studios are starting to get, like, if we put someone who's passionate about the thing, about the project we're working on, if we put a fan in a Godzilla movie, that we'll have a better project overall? Do you think that's starting to be the consensus that they're starting to get here?
I would hope so. I mean, like the thing is when you get guys that are extremely passionate about something, like it's going to be perfect. Like you'd almost want those guys more than you'd want like, Steven Spielberg or Christopher
Sure.
Nolan because you'd want you'd want guys who really can understand something. I mean like I hate, this Rogue One is obviously a huge example cuz this was like groundbreaking, different. Like like that was completely 100% just like a fan, like almost like fan fiction turned movie that's now like canon. If they can just keep doing these, like I think people love these. I mean, I
Yeah.
think it's really
Yeah.
good for Hollywood to get people who really care about something and to make a movie about that. I think there's less screw ups. I mean, there's still some things that, I mean, Star Wars is one thing, but, I mean, you've got a fan, kind of making a Godzilla movie. Not everybody's into it, Godzilla as they are Star Wars, but if you can get that draw, if you can, put your passion into something that makes people who aren't passionate about what you like that's the best thing you can do. Like,
I couldn't
I
agree more.
mean,
Yeah.
like the reason passion is such a great thing is because like you can make other people care about stuff that you care about just by showing how passionate you are. So putting your heart and soul into something is definitely something I could get behind in terms of Hollywood.
Absolutely. I don't have any more final thoughts on this. Do you want to take us into
Absolutely.
our next story?
So Game of Thrones, obviously the new season is coming out in July, and we've been talking about it a lot here. But it was said
Hmm.
in an article from IMDb that the Game of Thrones final season will most likely be in 2019. Um, they have yet to write scripts. They have yet to kind of figure out who's going to be in there and stuff like that. So,
Well, real quick, just to clear this up, we have this season premiering in July, and then the final one is the one that follows after
yes,
that.
this
Am
this
I
is the
correct?
penultimate season coming
Okay.
out in July, and then the last one is, I guess, we might have to wait until 2019. Um, so it seems like they're
Hmm.
working around, possible character deaths or working around how they want to end it, or who's going to be involved, because it seems like it's pretty, it's barely off the ground yet. And I'm sure they have everything edited and done for season 7, and now they're trying to get the ball rolling for season 8. It seems like they're very much at the ground here, for the last season of Game of Thrones, and they want it to be a great season considering it's the final season of one of the most iconic TV shows, like of all time, I'd say. So
Yeah.
they want to make sure they get it right, and I understand that they don't want to rush it and do everything like that. But I think because they kind of delayed season 7 to shoot this past winter just so they could get the winter scenes. Um, I think that didn't help it being like if season 8 is delayed, I think season 7 being delayed kind of assisted in that. But then also,
Yeah.
I mean, I want them to spend more time on the last season.
They should take their time. I mean, I don't want to rush production on anything like that, especially with Game of Thrones
Exactly. Like it's
finale.
got to be. I mean, for how great of a show it is, some consider it the best show of all time. Um, I don't, but it's a great show. It's up there. It's in my top. It's in my.
Yeah, no,
It's in my
absolutely. It's a
top
great
three.
show.
Um, but like the
Okay.
thing is I don't want them to screw it up. So I don't care that it's going to be in 2019. At least we got like a little like, hey guys, we're taking a little longer on this one. It might come out in 2019. It's not like fucking Kingdom Hearts 3
Yeah.
where it's like, oh yeah, it might release within the next 3 years.
Yeah, that's not kind of a schedule we want
No.
for things. But it's crazy to think about this because it seems like just the other day I started watching Game of Thrones when the second season premiered. So I binged the first season just in time for the second to start. And it just seems like that was just the other day. Time catches up with you. And it's just crazy to think that nearing almost 10 years this show is coming to a finale. Like it's been here, it's been around for a large part of our lives so far because we're only 20
Yeah.
years old at this point. It's been around, and it's kind of crazy to think about how much time has
Absolutely.
passed.
I only started at I watched season 5 and I watched the death of Jon Snow before I kind of even knew who Jon Snow was. You know,
Oh Jesus!
I mean, like, I all of season 5, like, I watched the build up, like, I saw him kind of become a hard ass.
Wait, you started?
Yeah,
At season
Mike was the
5?
one who introduced me to it, and I'd like go over to his house
Ah,
on like Sundays or whatever, or Mondays or whenever he was watching it. And I wasn't gonna sit there and like not watch it. So after I
yeah.
watched season 5, I just went back and just watched like all of it, and oh my god,
Mhm.
it's such a good show. Like,
It's great to watch it in binge mode because then you could really remember like what's going on, all the politics, the characters' names. Because God, I don't
no,
remember any
I
of
mean,
that
like,
shit now.
you remember like the big ones, like Ned and Rob Stark, like those guys were awesome, and then Oberyn
Yeah,
Martell, R.I.P. Well, R.I.P. to all those guys, you know.
yeah.
A lot of death, a lot of death in Game of Thrones. So don't, almost like don't get to
Yeah.
know characters because they'll probably die. Especially this,
That's a good way
like,
to look at it. Don't get too attached.
like this season. Like this season's about to be nuts. Like I'm expecting a
Yeah.
lot of death, and I want Cersei Lannister to die. I want her to die.
I mean, given the track record of how many main characters die, there's a good
I
chance.
also
Dan.
want Baelish to die.
Mhm.
He's just got to get what's coming to him, you know.
Yeah, but hey, we'll see this season coming
Absolutely.
in July. Now moving into our next topic, we saw a
did.
movie this week. We saw Wonder Woman, directed by Patty Jenkins, starring Gal Gadot
Gadot.
and Chris Pine. This movie. Let's start with our positives. This is a spoiler-free rating. We're going to start with our positives, get into our negatives, and then give you a rating at the end of it on the Goldblum scale. Dan, what are your positives?
My positives. Well, just the whole goddamn thing, Ryan. I fucking loved this movie. I just thought the pacing, the character development, everything was just done so well. I enjoyed like the entire movie from start to finish. I just thought the pacing, everything was just so well done. I just got to say,
Yeah.
Patty Jenkins, awesome job directing this film. But why I just she should just take over the fucking DC cinematic universe instead of Zack Snyder because holy shit, can she direct a movie? And I just thought
Yeah.
the bad guys were set up so well, just the whole Themyscira and everything, just Wonder Woman and chicks and World War One. It was nuts. It was awesome. It was such a good movie. And I just got to say, Gal Gadot, stunning, absolutely stunning. Obviously, she's a beautiful woman, but
Oh yeah.
she was so good at this role, you know? Like I remember
Yeah.
after Batman v Superman, I mean, there's a lot wrong with Batman v Superman, but some people who were really, really incredibly nitpicky were like, "Oh, I don't like her accent. I don't like this." Blah, 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 blah. And I'm just like, "Okay, this
Yeah.
movie was to just shut everybody the fuck up." Like Wonder Woman was just
Yeah.
so good. It shut up all like everybody. It shut up everybody, you know? Obviously, like I went into this movie not wanting it to be bad, but there was still a part of me that was kind of like, okay, but it's a DC cinematic movie. Is it going to suck? And it didn't. This movie was so good. I loved it. And there's one negative I have, but we'll get to that after your positives, Ryan.
Okay. Well, okay. So, what in the middle of the movie, I started being really satisfied because I realized this was like an actual movie because I'm not a huge fan of Man of Steel or Batman versus Superman. Those are the previous DC films for
And
those
Suicide
that might
Squad.
not know. And oh god, yeah, that's right. And
Yeah.
and and God, none of those movies like really held a very solid structure to me. None of them felt very engaging. Man of Steel being the strongest, I would argue, but still, um, those weren't really like movies in my mind. They were just like kind of weaker stories, you know.
Absolutely.
And I was just so excited about it. In the middle of the movie, I just realized, oh my god, like this, there are characters being fleshed out. There's engaging dialogue, a story we believe in, a main character we root for who has flaws, and God, it was great. All the things you just mentioned, the performances, the directing, it was awesome. Has it saved the DC universe? We'll have to wait until the next movie because, you know, this has been great, but how much of that can we attribute to the script and Patty Jenkins? Some of the story was done by Zack Snyder, I'll give you that, but, you know, time will tell if this has saved the DC universe because we still have Justice League coming out soon, and who knows how that's going to be. So, God,
I
great movie, but there are negatives.
Yeah.
So, Dan, what did you have
Well,
to say?
I kind of want to know how involved Zack Snyder was to begin with. You know, just to see like, does this
Yeah.
guy suck that bad, or like, is he actually okay? I don't know. Um, a quick gotta mention one of the positives as well. Chris Pine's eyebrows,
Yeah,
uh,
absolutely. My
breathtaking.
God,
They are
they are
they are
thick and they are
breathtaking eyebrows
gorgeous.
on
Yeah,
Chris Pine. But also his performance was great as well. I mean, just every character worked in this movie. All right, that's just cut off the positive. Jeez,
yeah.
there's so many positives. Go see this movie. Fuck. All right, but here are the negatives. All right, and my negatives might dip a bit into spoilers, but I'm gonna make it as vague as possible.
Good.
So I almost kind of knew who Ares was like halfway through the movie. Yeah.
Really? Okay.
I like made a guess and then it seemed most viable and then it ended up being true. Um and I and that's not even a negative. That was just like, "Oh, Danny, your prediction was correct."
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
looking back at it, like after he gets revealed, obviously it's obvious, but that's the way every big reveal goes at the end of movies. Like you're just like, oh fuck, it was there the whole time.
Now,
But
hold the phone here. Hold the phone. Are you saying it was predictable or just that aspect of it?
I wouldn't. I don't know because like it was the only thing I could think of when it came to negative for this movie. So, folks, there's not
Okay.
a lot of negatives. I'm just saying like I was able to predict the villain at the end, and maybe you could too. But you know, it's whatever. Like it's not that big of
Sure.
a negative
Sure.
because I mean Ares was awesome. Everybody was awesome. This movie was awesome. So, you know, Ryan, what are your negatives if you have any?
I think like there were a lot of slow motion shots, and a few really did well. A few were also self indulgent, And I think that is really only my negative, and that was just kind of something I thought about when I was marinating on the movie afterwards, where I was just like, hey, that was a bit much. But other than that, um, it it far exceeded my expectations, and I hope Patty Jenkins continues to do that. It's rumored that she's going to do Wonder Woman 2, and I hope to God she does.
Absolutely. Well, I want her to just do Batman, and I want her to do Superman 3 if they're gonna make a Superman 3. And I want her to do everything. This movie was so good.
Yeah. Now, is that your final statement? Do you have any final thoughts, positive or negative, about this movie?
I really loved how it told the past. Like because obviously we've been introduced to Wonder Woman already in the modern like Batman v Superman universe, but I loved that this was the introductory movie for Wonder Woman. This movie honestly should have came before Batman v Superman, but this Batman v Superman did so many things wrong by introducing her character before she had her own movie, because I kind of would have. I mean, I fucking love this movie. Your guys already know it. But like, if this was her first appearance on screen, like it would have made it that much more special. But it already is. This movie was
Sure.
fantastic,
Yeah.
and I'm glad I kind of already knew a sense of the character. But this put it beyond new heights. Like Wonder Woman was so good. I love Gal Gadot, and Patty Jenkins. Hats off. They're just great directing.
Yeah. Now, I'd never heard of Patty Jenkins before the movie, but I have to check out her other work now because that was great. But Dan, what would you give this movie on the Goldblum
I am
scale?
giving Wonder Woman a 4.5 out of 5 Goldblums on the Goldblum scale. I am in between Independence Day and Jurassic Park on the Goldblum scale. It was an incredible movie, a great experience. Go see this movie now.
I give this movie a 4.5 as well. It was very close to a great movie. It was very engaging. I had a fun time and a smile as the
Yep.
credits rolled. So go and see it. Mike Stuglis has given us his rating as well before he went off the grid. He gave it a 4.5, so that scores us in at a perfect 4.5 for
4.5.
Wonder Woman. Go check it out.
That's
Yeah.
that's it. Oh my god, it was so good.
All right.
I kind of
Now,
like to get out of the Wonder Woman talk. Though back into the Wonder Woman talk a little bit. I kind of liked how they captured like her naiveness, like
yeah.
like kind of not being like that. Those scenes in London where she was like trying on clothes and shit was like awesome.
Yeah, it was really fun. It was a really good character study into Wonder Woman instead of a showcase of look how badass they are and how good they can fight. But let's move in to our main topics. We have 3 today because we thought we'd run short, but we're actually going okay on time. But we're going to do these 3 topics regardless. So our first topic, Dan, what's the best advice you've ever gotten?
The best advice I've ever gotten was try and get like personal and emotional here. The best advice I've ever gotten was from my grandma. The last time I ever spoke to her before she passed away was to just keep working hard and keep being me, because there's so many people out there, but there's only one me, and only I can be the best at that. Only I can be
The best at being yourself.
I can be the best at being myself. And kind of since then, I've just strided every day to just continue to just be as weird and as much to be me as much as possible every day. And I just I strive to do that. It was just I think back of it, I mean, a lot of advice is good advice, and there's a lot of bad advice as well. But I think of this advice as something that I wake up and want to do every single day. I'd say it's the best advice I've ever gotten because it means so much to me, and that my grandma kind of saw something in me that should be reflected out. And I mean, obviously grandmothers kind of have to say stuff like this to their grandchildren, but
Yeah.
this it was the last conversation I ever had with my grandmother, and it's something that I'll continue to
Yeah.
do every day until I die myself, because it's just it's the best advice I've ever gotten.
That's actually like really good. And like Jesus, I mean, if you're not even being yourself, if you're just kind of following the crowd on what you want to shape yourself into, I mean, what kind of life is that? You should live for yourself and not for others. And a lot of times it's kind of sad to see people that only live to kind of be cool, or they live to fit in. And that's, I mean, there's always ways you might live your life that you do fit in, but like there's no point in living if you're gonna restrain yourself to just kind of fit
Exactly.
in. Being yourself is the best you could be. That's awesome
Yeah,
advice, though.
yeah, it's a good one. What's the best advice you've ever gotten?
So when I think of like best advice, I think of something that like has truly impacted me, something that I think of every day. And mine is definitely less serious than yours, but I think is just great advice regardless. Like living your life as yourself, very important. But the best advice I've ever gotten is that um, you can brush your teeth in the shower.
Are you kidding?
Damn. I saw this on the internet once. To like try brushing your teeth in the shower. It's the best because in your morning routine, you're dirty. You got to get up. You got to go to work. You got to go to school, whatever. You get up, you go in the shower, and you clean your body, but also your teeth. So it's a one-stop shop. You get in the shower, you step out, pearly clean. Those pearly whites, and you're smelling good. It's the best advice I've ever fucking gotten, Dan. And I have showered and brushed my teeth for years. And God damn it, I think everyone in America should do it because it's the best.
I did something similar. Like I kind of changed up my morning routine this morning. I before I showered, usually the first thing I do in the morning is shower. Like I can't operate without
Mhm.
showering first. But what I did was I woke up, and I looked out my window and I panicked because I saw my dogs outside, and I didn't know my dad was outside with the dogs. I couldn't see my dad, so I just thought like my dogs were outside, and like
Yeah.
there was like a 5K going on by my house. So there were just people running around, and like my dogs are friendly dogs, so I was just worried they were just going to run and like annoy people. So I kind of like jumped out of bed and like ran outside. And then I realized my dad was out there, and there was no need for me to be up at 8:30 this morning or 9 or whenever it was. But then my dad had gotten Dunkin', and I indulged in like 3 Dunkin' Donuts, and I
Oh
just
shit.
sat there and read some of the paper, and then and then I went upstairs, and then I showered. I'll tell you what I did in the shower, Ryan. I brushed
What'd you
my
do in the
teeth in
shower?
the shower.
You do it
Only this
too?
one time because
Okay.
I'd woken up and jumped and went downstairs before I showered. But I don't like brushing my
Okay.
teeth until after I eat my food. So like this so
Oh,
this was kind of like a one-time thing, because of the circumstances that I got up, went downstairs and ate breakfast before I showered.
now, did you find it to be more
Yeah,
efficient?
absolutely, because I kind of like I was just like, "Oh my god." Like I mean, I brush my teeth twice a day. I don't want to make it sound like I'm gross or anything like that. But like
Yeah.
brushing your teeth is kind of like my least favorite morning activity. I still do it every morning. Like, like I want to get this
Yeah.
across. I'm not a gross individual. I brush my teeth. But like judging by my inability to like brush the back of my tongue and my back teeth, I would give horrible blowjobs. Um,
Okay.
but like
Okay.
I don't like like gagging and coughing like like when I do brush the back of my tongue and like my back teeth.
Oh,
Um, and
I
and
getcha. That explains the blowjob
yeah,
reference.
so so that's why I don't like it necessarily. I mean, I like my teeth being clean, and I brush my teeth twice a day, but like I don't like gagging.
Makes sense.
Yeah.
Most people don't. But, just the PSA to America, it's probably more efficient on water. You could, if you use conditioner, you can brush your teeth while your conditioner's setting in. That's what I do at least. And it might use less water depending on how
Yeah.
you shower. So just a PSA to America, if you want to have a more efficient morning routine, brush your teeth
Maybe
in the
not
shower.
even America.
You know,
Maybe just the world. Maybe just everybody can do it.
the world. Yeah. But um, moving in to our next main topic, 2 of 3 main topics today.
2/3.
What movie 2/3? What movie object would you want to bring into reality? So this is in any movie, any franchise. If there's an object that couldn't exist in reality because it's so far fetched, you can now bring it into the day-to-day life that we live. What would you do?
Dude, there's so many. Like, there have been multiple things. Like, there's always one thing from like everything that I've ever watched that I would like want in real life.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I mean, like the Batmobile would be cool. Like a lightsaber would be cool. Um, but like, I think out of anything, I'm gonna go with the Harry Potter thing here. Now, people would think that wand would be like my number one choice. Like wand, you can do magic and everything
Yeah.
like that. But I've said this before, and I'll say it again. If I could take one thing out of the Harry Potter universe, it'd be a broomstick. I'd want to fly. I'd want to fly,
Mm.
and I think this is like my number one here. Um, and I want to fly, and having a magic broomstick would be just so efficient for travel. I like if I just needed to just get rid of some anger, I could just go outside and fly. Like it'd just be amazing.
You wouldn't have any friends you could play actual
I
Quidditch with, though.
I
That's
don't
kind of
care.
sad.
I don't care. I could
You could fly. Yeah. I guess that's behind you. Yeah. Now, like, is there any other Harry Potter thing that you would have as like a close second? Though, because
Yeah.
they have so many cool things in Harry Potter.
I think I bypassed the wand again. I think I
Okay.
well I do potions count as objects?
Sure. Yeah. Let's throw it in. What do you
Liquid
want?
luck.
That was a
Yeah.
potion. That'd be awesome. So wait, it just makes you completely lucky with
Yeah.
anything.
So you drink it, and then everything just seems to go your way.
That's awesome.
Th-
That'd be the best. That'd be
that
the best
that
one
would
ever. Forget about flying.
Well, I think I'd go flying before it. Because again, with
Okay.
luck, like you kind of make your own luck. But it'd be awesome if just shit just happened for you. I mean, that'd be great.
Yeah. That'd
But
be nice.
because like here's the thing with liquid luck, like you could drink Felix Felicis, and then you could walk in and buy the winning lottery ticket. Because that'd just happen,
That'd be
and
awesome.
then I don't know, you could ask out a girl, and she'd just say yes. Like, just so many things could happen.
You could like, Jesus, I'm just trying to think. I'd probably do the lottery ticket thing first if I drank
Sure,
that shit.
because I mean,
Because that would
it
open up so
depends
many
on
more
how
doors.
big your batch is. Now, if you get anything wrong in the Felix Felicis like concoction, it'll explode and you die. So
Okay.
this needs to
Okay.
be pre-made and there needs to be a cauldron filled. But you can't overindulge in it, otherwise everything stops going your way and you'll be unlucky for the rest of your life. You can only take a dosage probably like once every month.
Okay. Well, the object I'd like to bring into reality is way less exciting than what you had. Because a lot of times the coolest movie objects are like weapons, but I don't want to like destroy anybody or anything. I'm not looking to fight anybody. And so what I'd want to bring into reality is it's from Back to the Future, I want the hoverboard
Oh,
from Back to the
yeah.
Future 2.
I thought you were gonna say
I
like the
love that thing.
DeLorean. I was just like, all right.
No, I mean, okay. I don't want to fuck with time because I don't feel confident enough that I could like make sure I don't like fuck my mom like Marty almost did or anything like that. That's disgusting. But I just realized
know,
that's
dude.
disgusting. But in the movie, he had like a hard time keeping his mom away from him. It's like, dude, come on, that should be a lot easier.
Like, it's not like he wanted
Oh
to
man,
do
I'm
it.
digging
Like,
myself in a hole.
I don't know, dude. Leah Thompson was banging though.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Dude, okay,
But,
I gotta say, sorry to get off your hoverboard, but I watched like the
Yeah.
first 15 minutes of Howard the Duck the other day, like with Leah Thompson.
You did, okay.
I couldn't finish it. I hated it.
Dude, you gotta. It's so shitty. You gotta watch
I know.
Howard the Duck. I'd recommend
I'll go
finishing
finish
it.
it tonight, but like, I think it might be the first movie ever where I was just like, I can't finish this movie. This is so bad.
It is so rewarding if you stick through it.
Because
Come
like I
on.
heard like later on in the movie, like there's like a sex scene between Leah Thompson and Howard the Duck.
It's close to that. I'll give you that.
That's so
But
weird. Like, what
the
is
other-
she? What's her problem? Like, why does she want to have sex
I
with
don't
a
know.
duck?
No one explained it, and it's all fucked up. It's a weird movie. But the other Back to the Future thing that I was just thinking, that's way less cool, but I would love to have it in my life, is also from the second movie. It had so many cool things in it. I would want the food hydrator. So like what happened in the second one, they were in the future kitchen and they were making pizza, and they had like these little CD sized pizzas, and then they put it in the hydrator, and it was like an extra large pizza that was already steamy and fresh. I would want that.
Yeah, and
Also with food that could also do that. Like, I want a pizza that just gets fresh like that immediately. It'd be awesome.
like, and I think I watched a video like 2 years ago, in 2015. Like, obviously when we were like in the year that Marty went to. There was a video of like things that we kind of have.
Yeah.
And that was one of them. People have those. They obviously don't turn little CD-sized pizzas into extra large pizzas, but like people have food rehydrators that like make food like fresh again. Yeah,
That's kind of cool. So like it gets all weird and like mummified, and then you just gotta run it through the machine.
And like I mean, obviously they're not a common household object yet. Like it's just probably like 2 people have it. Like Elon Musk probably has it.
Probably. When he's eating pizzas in his Tesla.
And up in space.
Yeah.
And no longer a part of Donald Trump's
it-
presidential advisors.
In his satellite that we don't know about.
Do you think Elon Musk has
But
a
that's
weapon
all I
that
got.
could just destroy us all?
I would really hope not. He
I
seems
know,
like a nice
but like
fellow.
if it's anybody, it's him. Like for how happy and shit he is, like he's probably had some dark days where it's just like I am so smart and so creatively inclined to where I want to make a weapon of mass destruction. Made it and is just waiting for the day.
But wait, he's not the guy that like invents these things. He's not the
No,
scientist,
he's
right?
just
I thought
the
he was just the
he's just the creative
businessman.
mind. He's the one who wants to get shit started, and then he
Okay.
hires really smart people with all of his money to work with. I mean, he gets his hands dirty. He gets his hands dirty, but
I wanna say, though-
he's the innovator. He's the mind guy.
Okay, because I know he created PayPal with his brother in the late '90s. I don't know if they did the computer coding on that, because he might be smart with computer science. If
So
if
you're
I remember
so you're
correctly.
saying he's like Steve Jobs.
A little bit, but Steve Jobs didn't
No,
even do a
Steve
lot of
Jobs
the science,
is a
didn't
phony. He didn't do any of like the coding in Apple computers. That was
No.
that was Woz.
It was
That was Woz and like
Yeah.
other guys.
Wozniak. Okay, well, moving in to our next main topic. I think we've covered enough here. Okay, here we go. What mythological or folklore-based villain do you think you could defeat? So, like any creature that's fictional, that do you think you could defeat, and how would you do it?
I think I think I could defeat a Hydra.
Like a full-size fucking Hydra. You could
Yeah.
do that shit? How are you going to do it,
I'm
Dan?
not going to cut off any of its heads.
How do you
You
kill
get
it
up
then?
on its back. You get up on the Hydra's back,
Uh-huh.
and then you throw a giant vase on it.
Why does the vase kill it now?
Because it knocks it out. And then you just stab it in the heart so that
Okay.
it never grows back heads. But you need a giant vase, and you need a sword.
How big is that fucking vase, though? Like, Hydras are enormous, aren't they?
Yeah, I'm saying the vase is probably like, I don't know. I'd say the vase is like, all right. So like the Bean in Chicago.
Yeah.
No,
That big?
no, not that big. I'd say like the vase could fit in like the curve, like underneath the Bean.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
A big
it's
vase.
just a
Enough
big
to knock
vase. It could
a
knock a
Hydra
Hydra out.
Yeah.
Because the back is the weakest part of the Hydra.
I didn't know this. They didn't
Yeah,
teach
get
this
up
in
on the
school.
Hydra's back, Ryan.
That's a quote from, I think, our first episode.
Was
man.
it? It's
I think that was your first quote on our first episode.
It's also a quote from Kingdom
Isn't that
Hearts 2.
cute? It sure is. I knew where that was going the moment you said Hydra. He's going to say get up on the Hydra's
Well,
back.
to tell you the truth, Ryan, I didn't give any thought of what mythological creature I could defeat because I don't think I could defeat any
That's okay.
mythological creature unless I was dipped in the river Styx.
Well, Dan, that's okay because I think I could defeat a mythological creature. I'm going to take on Count Dracula. And I did a lot of preparing this morning. I woke up way too early. And I was thinking about this. Who could I take out? It's a fictional character. And I think Count Dracula is a real bitch. And here's how I'm going to do it, Dan. So I'm already at a handicap here. I'm already at a disadvantage because I'm not a beautiful woman. So I can't take him into his castle and seduce him because that's just not an option here, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to pose as Transylvania's castle inspector for all the giant castles in the land. I'm the inspector, right? And he'll, of course, let me in because, besides being an evil vampire, he's, kind of a gentleman, right? He gets angry sometimes, right? But he'll let you in if you got to inspect the castle. So I'll spend a couple hours kind of meticulously checking out the grounds, the basement, the sump pump, all that
Now,
business,
is he
right?
with you on the inspection walk or not? Like,
It really, I
did
mean,
he offer you a drink when you
I'll-
walked in? And then you poked a
he did.
you poked a joke at him. You're like, "Oh, I only drink diet blood," and then he's like, and then you guys have a quick laugh, and then he goes, "The furnace is downstairs," and you're like, "Okay, I'll go check it."
It was kind of that situation. Like he offered something, and then I said like, I'll say like, "Oh yeah, you can follow me or stay up here." He's like, "Oh no, I don't really care. You seem legit." And so I'll spend a couple hours checking out his business there, and then since this is a castle only kept by one guy, at least in this situation, the book I believe there's other people inside of it, but this is my ideal situation. So it's just Count Dracula staying in this castle, and because there's only one guy, there's not a lot of upkeep going on. So I'm gonna write a few citations for code violations, like for example, he's got way too many candles lit near red velvet drapery. It's moody,
Yeah.
it's scary. I'll give him that. But it's a fire hazard, so there's going to be a lot of tickets for things like that. And I'll tell him, I'll be back in a few days. I'm going to collect the fines. And then upon my return.
How did he take it that, like, he had some fines?
Well, I mean, anybody's going to be dumbfounded when you send an inspector in there pointing out things he didn't know about. He's like, "Oh, I'm very sorry. I didn't know about this." And, he'll probably take it like a champ. Again, a gentleman.
Absolutely.
Nonetheless. And, so upon my return, after I give him the citations, I'll explain that they're past due, and I'm going to have to give him a court notice between him and the town of Transylvania, the country. Maybe it was a town, I'm not sure. So
it
he's
was
going to be
like
given a
kind
court
of
notice.
country. Yeah, because
Was it? Okay, because it's like
yeah,
Romania now.
but Vlad the
Okay.
Impaler was like a real guy, and he
Yeah.
yeah, it was like Transylvania was his thing, and he had a castle with too much candles by red drapery. So
It's called Bran Castle, if I'm not
uh,
mistaken, in
yes, it
Romania.
does
It
exist.
exists. Um, Now, I'm going to give him a court notice. And here's what we're going to do, Dan. Transylvania is going to sue this son of a bitch for all he's worth. We're going to take his riches. We're going to take his castle. All that shit. Gone. The TV, we're getting that shit out of there. You know? This guy's going to be miserable, right? And that's how I'm going to defeat him. I didn't say kill him. I'm going to defeat him. And yeah, he's immortal. He'll get back his wealth eventually, sure. But I'm going to be dead before I got to worry about any of that shit. So he'll be defeated. He'll be from rags, or he'll be from riches to rags. You know, he's done. Guy, I'm gonna kill the guy
inspections
through bureaucracy.
How do you take his things
Yeah.
if it's for health inspections and not like tax evasion or something?
No, it was building code. It wasn't health inspection. He's not a restaurant. It's building code. So I mean, you've got a stone castle. Things need to be checked from once in a while, and so I go in there posing as the inspector, give him citations. We sue him. We sue him for all he's goddamn worth.
I agree. Let's that there's no other way to take out Dracula. All that wood
Yeah.
spoke and silver and cloves of garlic and all that doesn't work. It's
No,
it's
it's not brute
it's
force.
suing him for everything that he owns.
The wheels of bureaucracy, Dan, they turn, and they're gonna run over this son of a bitch. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that's how I'm taking him out. Would you do that too? Would that be your strategy, or would you do brute force?
I think I'd like pose as his chef and like accidentally throw some garlic in his like his spaghetti.
Spaghetti. I mean, hell yeah, you could do that like even with a pizza guy. I guess that'd be pretty easy. I didn't even think about that.
That's all right. I mean,
I took a really long version.
No, I mean, you defeated him. I killed him. Like yours had a
Which is better though?
Yours
'Cause
had a lot more meaning.
perhaps
Because I don't.
he'll be probably way more pissed about the suing one than eating garlic.
I don't know. I mean, like, does Dracula go to heaven or hell?
Oh, that's a good question. Probably hell.
I mean,
That would make sense.
I mean, that,
I don't think he's
that
going to
makes
heaven.
sense, but like, I mean, he doesn't just kill everybody. I mean, he sucks blood to live. I mean,
Yeah.
tigers
I mean-
kill like little bunnies to live.
But when you're a vampire, you're not even like, you don't have a soul, you're not a person anymore. You're just like, aren't you like hellspawn at that point?
It depends. I mean, there's that movie with Jonathan Lipnicki, where he meets some vampires that are nice. There's that movie with
Wait.
Adam Sandler, Hotel Transylvania and Hotel Transylvania 2.
Good Christ.
Where he's a nice vampire. The Count.
Okay.
The Count is a nice vampire.
Yeah. Well, okay. Now I'm starting to feel bad about suing him for all he's worth. But, this is about defeating them. All right? I don't care about morals here. I don't care if he's a good guy who has a monster hotel. Okay? He's done.
Yeah.
But, Dan, do you have any final thoughts?
Any final thoughts on the mythical beasts?
On Mythical Beasts and the podcast?
Well, I'll just tell our viewers, not our viewers, our listeners, get up on the Hydra's back, folks. Just get up on the Hydra's back.
Yeah. And don't forget to brush your teeth in the
And
shower.
Don't forget to go see Wonder Woman.
That's right. It was awesome.
And
oh
don't
my God.
forget to listen to our other podcasts. And don't forget to come back next week. And don't forget to put your socks on before your shoes. And don't forget to put the cereal in the bowl before the milk.
What kind of asshole puts the milk in
Dude,
first, though?
fucking the worst asshole of all time. The widest, stinkiest asshole of all time puts the fucking milk in before the cereal. That's what kind of asshole.
That's fucking terrible.
I concur.
All right. And that is this week's podcast. Remember to rate and subscribe to us on iTunes. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. We're going to have links for that in the description. We're also on the social medias. We're on the Twitter and the Facebook. We got a page. We'll have links to that as well in the description. Dan, before we close out, you got anything else to say?
Nope. Love you guys.
All right. And as always, thank you for listening.
What if God was one of us? Just a slob like one of us.